Okay, so yesterday we put together, and by put together I mean we cut out and we did the folding and we had all of our flaps ready, this beautiful foldable to help us with converting between fractions, percents, and decimals. Really the only difference between mine right here and yours should be where the hole punches are. Your hole punches are here, and mine are over here. So not a huge difference. We're going to work our way through each different conversion, and as we go, I'm going to advise you to pause so you can copy what each one says. So let's start with fractions. So if I want to convert a fraction to a percent, so you're going to open up this flap here, and you'll see where it says fraction to percent up here. I rewrote that because you can't see that when it's open, right? So you're going to divide the numerator by the denominator and then multiply by 100. So if I have the fraction 3/8, when I do 3 divided by 8, I get 0.375. When I multiply by 100, that's like moving my decimal 2 places to the right. And so then I'm going to get 37.5 as my percent. So now is when you would pause the video and copy this into your foldable. Okay, now we're on to fractions into decimals. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to write up here fractions to decimals. You're just going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So this is actually easier than going to a percent because it's just the first step. So I would do 3 divided by 8 in my calculator, and then I would get 0.375 to change it. So I just went from a fraction to a decimal, and then I would stop there. Percent to fraction. So if I, go ahead and pause your screen right here. Pause your screen so you can copy that down. Okay, we're going to scoot over to percent to fraction. So when I open up this flap, I'm going to write percent to fraction. So you're going to write the percent as a fraction. So you take the percent value as the numerator, and then you write 100 as the denominator. So what that looks like is if I have 20%, I'm going to put that number 20 as the numerator, and then I'm going to make 100 the denominator, and then I'm going to simplify. And I can simplify, I can reduce by doing 20 divided by 20, 100 divided by 20. And I would get 1/5 as my simplified fraction. Go ahead and pause, get that copied down onto your foldable. If I'm going to do percent into a decimal, it's very similar. If I already have the percent, I'm just going to move the decimal places 2 places to the left. That's like dividing by 100, right? So if you remember when we had a fraction and we changed it into a percent, we moved it 2 places to the right because we had to do the decimal part to begin with. So actually moving a percent to a decimal is probably one of the easier ones. Move the decimal 2 places to the left, 0.43. Remember, these are the same value, they just look different, right? I always tell students it's kind of like if you're at a Mexican restaurant, right? A lot of the food has the same stuff, it's just put together differently, right? So oftentimes an enchilada will have the same stuff as a burrito, but they come in slightly different forms, okay? Most of the food, right, has some sort of meat, it's got rice, it has cheese, it has the guacamole, all the goodies, but it just looks a little different depending on what you order, okay? So go ahead and pause and get this copied down. And then our last section is decimal to a fraction and decimal to a percent. So if I'm going to be changing into a decimal to a fraction, I'm going to write as a fraction using the place value. So we're doing tenths or hundredths. So I've got 0.3 would be the equivalent of 3/10. So one of the tricks I always tell students is like, how would you say this? If you were to say this value out loud, you would say 3/10. You wouldn't say 0.3. You would say 3/10 because that's the value. And that's how you would write it, 3/10. Okay, so remind yourself, how would you say the decimal? 3/10. So go ahead and copy that down, pause your video. And now, decimal to a percent is pretty easy. We move the decimal 2 places to the right. So this is kind of back full circle where we were changing a fraction into a percent. This is just one of those steps. So you already changed the fraction into a decimal. Now you change the decimal into a percent. And remember, moving 2 places to the right is just like multiplying times 100. Okay, so go ahead and pause your screen. Go ahead and copy this down. And that'll be the end of it. And then when you're done filling out this form, go ahead, this foldable, I will be giving you a practice page to do for when you're done to apply this newfound knowledge. Most of you it should be review, but it's good to practice. So go ahead and start your practice page now. Thank you.